He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. The UTSA, man, they were impressive on Saturday. But their head coach is now dealing with an injury. Let's talk about it. Jeff Traylor joining us now here on the Blitz on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Coach, you doing okay?
Good. How are you guys?
We're good. Injury-wise, we understand you've got a damaged pinky.
Yeah, I'd say I'm day-to-day, game time decision, but I think I'll push through.
So, Coach, this is kind of funny. So you brought the rat traps back out. You don't want your team to eat the cheese after a great 3-0 performance in conference play, and it trapped you.
Yeah, well, the terrible news about when you lose on a bye week is you got to go 2 weeks, of that. The good news when you coming off a bye week and you've won 3 in a row, it's been 5 weeks since my guys have lost the ball game. And, I just want to make sure they're reminded of how bad we were in September. And the reason we've gotten so good in October is we just practiced like really, to be honest with you, a very angry team. I use the quote a million times, but desperate people live differently than prosperous people. We've been a desperate football team for the last 5 weeks. We haven't been very good. I just don't want to lose that mindset, to be honest with you.
Well, and again, I mean, you look at the way your team played over the weekend. That defensive performance was as impressive as we have seen from the Roadrunners in I don't know how long. At what point during the game did you go, man, everything is just clicking, all phases of the game, but especially this defensive unit?
Well, after the pick six, we were down 10-7, and we gave up 2 plays on the drive before down the field that were disappointing because we thought we had them covered up pretty good, and we didn't. They executed 2 huge third downs, so we didn't really feel good at that point. I thought the turning point of the game, in my opinion, the punt return by Chris Carpenter right before halftime, the field goal, the 2-minute drive to go up 10, which really we'd been up, 17 if we hadn't thrown a pick six. So even though we were only up 10, I sure didn't want to go up just up 7 at halftime. We had dominated that much on our defense.
Yeah, Jeff, when you look at your defense, it just seems like it's improved week after week after week. And then, giving up 10 points in the first quarter to FAU, and then you shut them out the rest of the way. What was the difference with your defensive unit as they went into the second quarter?
Well, they really didn't give up the 10. They only gave up 3.
Right.
So there's really nothing they could do about it. And I appreciate you being kind, but let's be honest. We deserved the criticism in September. Our defense was very, very good the first 2 weeks. We were really bad against Army. We were really bad against Tennessee. We were really bad against Temple. Now we've been great the last 2 weeks on defense. So which team are we? Inconsistent. It's still the way I would describe us, not recently, but through the whole season, that's what we've been. But it is the first time we've put back-to-back games of being really good on defense, really good on offense, despite the 3 turnovers, which is not great, but we still played really well on offense, and we were spectacular on special teams. I'd also like to add this. They had the number 1 punt returner in the country. He averaged 27 yards of punt return, and Lucas Dean hit 4 punts, and the kid had 0 yards returned, 3 fair catches, and we tackled him for 0 as well. So that was also a huge part of the game plan, was try to get that punt returner on the ground, and Lucas really stepped up.
Well, and again, what was he? A long 52 in that game? I mean, just watch it. Like, everything was clicking. And, I know after the start and whatever, it was like everything was still in front of UTSA as far as winning another conference championship. And you guys look like you have hit your stride at the right time. And you got East Carolina coming in this weekend to the Alamo Dome, and you bring out the don't eat the cheese, the rat traps in everybody's locker. So you got to go through and tell us how did you hurt your finger, Coach?
Well, we put 112 of them out. Obviously, we've done this numerous times since I've been here. We do it once a year. One year we made it the whole season because we knew we had a lot of guys returning, so we knew what it was going to be like. But we got them all passed out. So we're passing out our Triangle Toughness Award winners, which we do every Sunday. And after pretty much we had put a rat trap or a mouse trap in everybody's locker. Now we made it where it wouldn't go off on anybody. All those receipts we talked about keeping, about all the negative things that were said about us. I had my black ops people, my guys in the back, the guys that get the work done, the analysts and your chief of staff, those kind of guys. Just they scaved the internet and found all kinds of great things that were said about me and my coaches and my players. We printed that stuff up, put it everywhere in the building. And so now I'm going through the meeting and I'm showing it all up on the screen just to remind everybody. And I didn't know one of those smart alecks had replaced my trap that I had up on the podium with a live trap. And I accidentally put my hand on it because I knew it was not triggered, right? And that thing snapped into my pinky. I bet I jumped 2 feet. And the irony of this is our culture pool this week is physical toughness. The head coach did not show much physical toughness. I can promise you that.
Oh, you didn't cry, did you, Coach?
I didn't cry, but I did tell him it would kill a lesser man. I did make that comment. That's truthful.
Kill or less, man. Did you say you might not have cried, but did you say words you couldn't say on this radio program?
Yes, sir. There's no doubt I did. There's no doubt.
Now,
on a Sunday. On a
Sunday. That's okay. Hey, you get hit by a rat trap or a mouse trap, you're allowed. It's okay. All right, Coach. I know why you're doing this because everybody's going to look at the game coming up. East Carolina, they're 0-3 in conference play. They're 1-6 overall. Most of us fans are going to say, "Well, it's going to be a fun day in the Alamo Dome." What kind of problems does East Carolina cause you?
Well, there's 2 things that are factual. I wouldn't want to play Michigan. I would not want to play App State. I would not want to play Marshall. They also play a Rice team that's playing very well right now that beat Houston. They also got beat by SMU, who's playing very well. Now, the one that's in there that's kind of confusing is Charlotte, right? Well, Charlotte hasn't had a very good year. But then you throw rivalry in there, both Carolina schools, you kind of understand where that one came from. So that's one thing. Their schedule's been very tough. Number 2, defensively, they're number 2 in the country on rush defense. Number 2, they're top 25 in the country on defense. So they're very multiple. They're very scrappy, and they've had, obviously, statistically, one of the best defenses in the country. So they've been in every single ball game, and I expect it to be a dogfight this Saturday.
2:30 in the Alamo Dome. It is also homecoming for UTSA, and as you say that, and you think about how good their rush defense is, the way Frank has been playing, you guys have been so balanced with your rushing and passing attack, but is this going to be more of a passing game, do you think, coming up on Saturday against East Carolina?
Well, it's a great question. We take a lot of pride in how we block, too. We take a lot of pride in our running backs. So we're not just going to go in there and wave the flag. We're going to try to play the way we play and just see how we match up. Now, obviously, if that's not going so hot, it might turn into what you suggested. But going into the game, we're going to just try to see how good we are as well.
Jeff, I got to ask you, when you go into a homecoming game like this, I mean, that's a little added pressure for you and your guys, right? Because, well, you don't want to get beat on homecoming. I mean, do you look at it that way, or is it just a fun day?
Never, ever, ever. They're no different. That's what we got you guys for. Y'all the ones who are going to do all that stuff for us. We never look at anything. One thing different. Everything's the exact same. Do we sense something's different as we're walking in? There's more people, no doubt. Do we sense a certain air all week long? There's no doubt we sense those things. As far as our preparation and how we speak to our kids, there's not one difference in how we prepare for this game versus any of the other ones.
You know, it's interesting because you've got to have that mindset, right? And from a coach and from a player standpoint, it's one thing. The media are going to be, what's the biggest difference or message, like you wish, whether it's fans and what you're seeing on social media or media types, not just for your program, but for all of us, you guys in the coaching business, you always look at things differently, whether it's a good game or a bad game, then it's on to the next. What's the one thing that you wish that fans or media types would really understand about what you guys are doing week in and week out?
From a coaching perspective, there's not one thing that I'm being second guessed on, or that even you two might be thinking, what is he doing? I'm saying the exact same thing to myself because I've already went through that situation 1,000 times during the week. We've already thought through that. And when you make the wrong choice and it doesn't work, those same things are in your head, like, well, I wish I would have done the other thing. The next thing is the pain those kids are under. It's so tremendous when they have a tremendous love for their community. We understand the responsibility we have. So when we drop a pass or we don't punt the ball very well or we miss the tackle, and those kids carry that weight so heavily. So when someone just piles on, it's just tough because those guys really do love their fans so much. So we also understand it's just part of the territory. We really do get it. That's what makes it so great here. Our fan base is so passionate. They do love the Roadrunners so much. And let's be honest, we spoiled the heck out of them these last 4 years. We've won a lot of ball games, so the expectations are pretty high around here. So to Joe's point, we do talk about this is homecoming. There's going to be more tickets requested. There's going to be more hoopla going on. So we have to know these things going into the game. You understand what I'm saying a little bit? So it's not like we totally ignore what's going on. We just don't make that, okay, boys, it's homecoming. We got to win one for the homecoming queen or the homecoming king.
Jeff, I have to ask you this, and it's kind of off topic of UTSA, but I'm curious what you think of this. Jason and I were talking about this. Are there no style points in college football anymore? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it used to be where you get a team, you want to beat them as much as you can, style points for the polls and the ratings and all of that kind of stuff. And the reason I ask that is Oklahoma and Texas both had the heck scared out of them on Saturday, and nobody seems to matter anymore. Has all of that gone away?
Yeah, and I think that's fair, too, for it to go away because no different in our game. When I got up 29-10, I just called it off. So the score was really 29-3. We started snapping the ball late. We slowed down. We only scored one more touchdown. So, if you win the game, that's the objective. And I know what you're saying, but I'll take 12-0 with 12 ugly wins over 6-6, over 6 beautiful wins any day of the week.
Coach, if you get a win, is it actually ugly?
There's no such thing. There is no – only to you guys, only to the media. Now, my mom's pretty spoiled, but other than that, no, there's no such thing. I am going to be happy no matter what.
Ultimately, a W is a W.
And I might put on an act, after the game and act like I'm all mad because I know my team's watching that interview and listening to it. But inside, I'm just so happy to go home and celebrate a win. You have no idea.
At the end of the year, what's the record at the end of the year? Health-wise going into this East Carolina game?
We're better than we have been. We're getting closer. JT's having a second opinions. He will not be out there again. Mekhi Hart's getting closer. Dan, our tight end, who got hurt in the Houston game, is getting closer. And we're not in a bad shape. We're just late in the year. Obviously, Mekhi being one of our best offensive linemen, and JT quite arguably one of the best receivers in the history of our school. Those are big losses. We expect everybody else to be going. Obviously, we've got 3 days of practice. And that's always, interesting because we got to get physical during practice as well.
With JT, because I thought he was getting closer and closer and closer, and you say second opinion, is it likely he could miss this entire season?
I just really don't want to comment just yet for JT's sake. I mean, he's getting looked at today, and that kid's been through a lot. He's already been out a whole year, and it's just not getting any. It's getting better. It's just not getting better as fast as it should be. And we got to figure out what's going on there.
Jeff, just watch out for those stray mouse traps, will you?
Brother, that might be the last year. we might just go more like, I can't say that word. We might just go like what the cheese effect might have in other ways on a human. If they eat too much cheese, might not be any more rat traps.
No more videos. Are you going to be on the sideline, with the big old wrap on your hand and in a sling?
My daughter just shamed me because she's like, Dad, can you ever not be in the national news for saying just something stupid? I'm like, baby, I just told the truth. JJ asked the question and I answered it truthfully. She's like, gosh, you do a lot of dumb things. I'm like, well, all the way from New York, I'm catching heck. I promise you.
Do you know which player switched out the traps?
I have a feeling it's going to be Danye Taylor or Brandon Matterson, but I have not got anybody to confess. They're on my list. No video proof, just a hunch, knowing those two rascals.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. A big internal investigation to figure out who's doing bear crawls across the band parking lot.
Well, their proximity to the podium and their smiles were larger than the rest of the 112. So I got a feeling they were guilty.
No offense, Coach, but I think everybody was probably laughing. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Well, I get a good example of why you don't eat the cheese right there. Great example.
There you go. Jeff Traylor, head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners. Get back on that treadmill, Coach, and get another win for homecoming this week.
Appreciate y'all very much. See y'all Saturday. God bless. Birds up.
God bless and birds up. Jeff Traylor on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond. Online at buyersbarricades.com.